Alright guys, as promised, we got the CR920 and the Glock 43x out here. I'm going to do a comparison video today. As you can already see, Trey said, I don't know if that's true or not because I ain't had a Glock 43x, but he swears it only came with one magazine. So that's already a thumbs up, one better if you will, for the Shadow Systems. However, we're going to be fair about it because the Shadow Systems did run around $800 before tax, and I'm pretty sure you can pick this 43x up somewhere around $450 before tax. So it's a big difference in price. So okay, we got 3 magazines, we got the nice soft carrying case. Pretty sure the Glock came in the traditional plastic case that you're accustomed to seeing Glocks come in. Okay, now as far as size, as you can see, barrel lengths or slide lengths and everything are the same. It would seem as though the grip profile here is a little bit longer on the Glock. However, if you put this extended mag in here, they are identically the same size. And if I'm not mistaken, Trey has informed me, I don't know if this is true or not, that will lock into place, and it will. Let's see if it'll chamber one. So it did chamber one. Alright, so 43x magazine will fit into the CR920. Let's see if, well, the opposite can't be true because of the, yeah,
it's not long enough.
Alright. So anyway, now what we're going to do is try to determine, okay, so sure, you got the 3 extra or the 2 extra mags over the 1 mag with the 43x. Okay, you got the nice soft carrying case over the traditional plastic case with the Glock. So does these 2 extra mags and a carrying case and having a few cutouts in the slide and having a front tritium field sight, does that, those two, they're both optic ready, as you can see. Trey has took the optic off of his to be fair in this comparison, but do those things, you got a lot better undercut in under the trigger guard here, squared off much like the Glock, but it is undercut a lot better here. You have these cutouts, these lightning cuts if you will. The barrel is not ported, but you do have these lightning. In fact, a lot of the guts, and as you can see, all of these cuts out of the sides here, which really lightens it up. So overall, it is definitely lighter, and it feels lighter, and it feels better in the hand than the 43x does. But does it shoot better than the 43x? Is it more accurate than the 43x? Does it have a better trigger than the 43x? Again, this is not going to be an in-depth, down to the nitty-gritty in the internals and everything type kind of deal. We're just trying to determine whether or not having these fancy cutouts of the slide here, which I can only assume would cut down on weight, make it more comfortable to carry, if you will. But functionally, does it handle recoil better? That's what we're going to determine right now. I'm going to put one, how many rounds is in this?
10, I think.
10 rounds. So we got a 12 round magazine with the CR920. Right now, I'm just going to shoot this gun to give a fair comparison on how it recoils. And that also would come into how well I stay on target as well. So let's just do that right now. I'm not hitting the target. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the accuracy right there just yet. We've been shooting a lot of guns today. Just going to look at the recoil, how it handles recoil. That's kind of all I'm looking for right now. I will already say, I don't know what it is. We'll look at it in a minute after I shoot this thing. But to me already, the 43x, dead center. just crazy how much more accurate I was with the Glock. Again, that may not be with you, may not be the experience you have with it, but let's just focus a minute on the recoil. So let's look and see if I was right. They seem very similar in width. They don't seem to be. I thought maybe for some reason or another, maybe it's just because of the longer grip profile here, I felt like I had a better handle on this one, which is crazy considering the texturing on the shadow system and how well undercut it is here. But if I'm just holding both of these guns in my hand, I feel like I got a way more confident purchase. And to be fair, let's switch them up, do left and right. I feel like I got a way more confident purchase on the 43X than I do on the shadow system. That's just facts. So let's talk about the recoil. So the recoil was definitely way more manageable with the 43X than it was with this. This recoiled a lot more. You would expect that with it being lighter and having the lighter slide. However, I will say that the very first shot I shot with the 43X was as dead center as you could possibly be with any pistol. It was dead center first shot. So the recoil didn't really play much of a role, less or more, in where my shot was, how I impacted the target. So very similar in size, offers 2 more magazines, a nice soft carrying case, a front night sight or tritium field sight. Sexy looking, I guess, more so than the Glock 43, but sexy don't make it shoot better. They're both cut for optic, so they're both optic ready. Did your 43X come with plate?
No.
Did not come with plates. This one does not come with plates. Suppose you will have to order those aftermarket. So I'm going to load up this 43X magazine, since unfortunately it only came with one. Gonna put 10 more rounds in here, and we're just gonna simply shoot for accuracy. See which one. Now again, everybody is different. Trey and I, we shoot a lot of guns, and we would like to think that although we're not competition shooters, we're definitely a good enough shot to be accurate with something that is accurate. So I'm gonna start with the shadow systems here. I'm gonna go on this larger target up here and just see where we are. Shooting low. Okay, so I don't know if you can zoom in on the target there, the left target, and you can see that I pulled a couple, about 3, but I will say this. On the Glock, and it's always been this case for me on every Glock I've ever shot, I've had to kind of can it forward a little bit, and my point of impact is directly above the front sight. I have noticed on this one, the point of impact is right dead center, if not flush with the top of this slide, right in the center of that yellow dot. So that yellow dot has to be right where you want the impact to be, versus the Glock, it's not that way. So in that sense, it's a matter of reeling it in, because once I figured that out, the grouping was phenomenal. It was right there. So, you know, it's accurate enough in that sense. So let's shoot the 43X and try to do the same thing. Let's see, I'll stay on the same target, try to go a little bit right. It's crazy how when I was shooting at this target, I was better with the 43X. When I was shooting at that target, I was better with the shadow system. But you know, the good thing about that is we have 2 folks here. So My thoughts about this is, now we have shot this gun before, both of these guns. Both of these guns have been shot. This is not the first time we've shot them. And during the last trip to the range, when we shot both of these, I can't remember. Maybe it was when we were doing the videos of just them alone, not being a comparison. I definitely shot better, more accurate with this, and it definitely seemed to be more comfortable to shoot and to hold, just to me. In fact, in so much that I was going to sell this gun. In fact, I had it on consignment somewhere and went back and got it because we lost the video footage we had. So, but today it seems as though I'm kind of hit or miss either way, where one time I was more accurate with this, one time I was more accurate with that. But we have shot a lot of guns today. One thing I'll say for sure is where I was hitting at, whether it was where I was aiming or not, the grouping is phenomenal. So it's not the gun, it's me. So I'd say they're both very, very fairly accurate. And for me, the recoil is way less manageable. It hurts more. I mean, it's not like, oh, little baby, you know, but it just, if we're just comparing recoil, this one definitely hurts more to shoot than this one does. So we're gonna reload. Only got one for the 43, but we're gonna reload, paint the target, let Trey shoot, see what kind of, you know, what he comes up with, what his thoughts are. All right, so we got everything loaded up here. Trey ain't gonna really talk about the different features of the guns. Obviously, we've already went over all that. He's just gonna shoot it first and see just recoil only. Not really looking for, okay. What's that?
I said recoil only.
Yeah, we'll just see how it manages. What is your thoughts on how each one manages the recoil?
We'll start with the shadow systems, and we'll go to the Glock after that, because I think you started with the Glock, didn't you?
I don't remember.
I do not like that trigger. Like you gotta squeeze it.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with the gun. I could tell. Well, you done that on the Glocks. I mean, not the Glocks, but the Tauruses we used to have, because the over travel or the take up in the trigger was so much, you thought something was wrong with it. I think you put one in the ground by accident one time, but
it's like it's really spongy, like right before, and it's like you don't, but it's not every time. It's not consistently that way, so you can't really pick up on it. But
I'm not a huge fan of the trigger. I like the Glock trigger better. I'm just saying, you know, that's just honesty from my opinion. People can hate on us if they want to.
So recoil. Okay, let's see here.
I mean, that already answered your accuracy question. I don't even know if you need to shoot it anymore. I mean,
yeah, I think that recoil, as far as how well it is managed.
There's the Glock.
I'll just be honest with you. I
There's
think you might have given it. You said that the Glock managed recoil better. So I think that it's about the same in my opinion. I don't know that there's too much difference in the recoil. Maybe a slight edge given to the Glock, but I don't know what it is about that trigger. I think it's because I was maybe more so focusing on shooting it and just trying to be accurate, but also at the same time gauge the recoil. I think that the shadow systems might be a little bit more snappy. So, you know, I had a gun on consignment at a local store, and this guy brought in a gun that was similar to it. It was our 938 SAS, and this gentleman brought in a 938 that was not the SAS, but a regular sight setup and a normal gun. And I wanted to trade, but the reason he brought it in to sell it was because his wife thought it was really snappy. So if you don't like that snappy type recoil, as opposed to maybe a more steady type recoil that you might find in the Glock, I would probably go with the Glock.
Okay, well, let's do accuracy on the, go ahead and load up the other I think we've already answered that question, but I mean, go ahead and shoot your shadow there. It's already got some loaded up mags ready to go.
Okay.
And
See
just
how she does.
see how she does with accuracy. And
Didn't lock back on that mag, by the way.
yeah, no, it's done that a few times. I ain't totally sure what that's about, but
I'm gonna try to focus. Ignore the fact that the trigger is not my favorite. I think, well, there you go. That was a failure to eject, but that might have been on me.
I think you're just letting that trigger mess with you. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Just pull the trigger.
I don't like this trigger. Man, I'm pulling that thing all the way back.
Pull it back and.
Literally, I'm pulling it back.
Well, is it an empty round?
No, it's a regular round. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's me because I didn't do it with the Glock. I shot great with the Glock, so.
I just I'm telling you, that's the reason that I was just, you know, I was selling the shadow. I mean, that's certainly me saying all of that stuff certainly makes it difficult for me to sell it to people I know. Because I don't want to sell somebody something that you know that I badmouth, but
I think it comes down to what we've said a lot, and that is that if you really like a pistol,
where's that round? That
I can't. Did I throw it back down on the ground? Yeah, here it is. Here you go.
Did it hit it?
No, it wouldn't hit it. I'm telling you, like the trigger's spongy, like it won't even go forward or anything of that nature, and it's not every single time. Like it's only every now and then. Maybe try it with that mag, too, because you only have one round left.
No, I just want to see if it'll...
You feel like you had to pull it harder?
Well, no, I told you that when we were sitting over there earlier. I said this shadow system trigger, you have to pull all the way to the rear.
But I feel like sometimes when you shoot it, you don't have to do that. Like it's not consistent, if that makes sense. Maybe it's just in my head.
Consistent, have to pull it all the way back to me.
Yeah.
It's always been that way. That's another reason why I got rid of it. I mean, it shoots. I've never had it to malfunction, but I think the reason it stovepipe or failed to eject is because you letting that trigger mess with you so
I just saw that something's in my head because
that you're limp wristing it because that trigger's messing you up so bad. I've never had it to malfunction. I mean, it failing to eject was the first time I've ever seen that happen when you were shooting it. But as I mentioned in the tabletop and in the regular range review on this, I'm just not a fan of the trigger. I mean, I'm not a Glock guy. You know, I'm a CZ guy. Yeah. I'm an H&K guy. I mean, I picked CZ and H&K before I picked Glock. But I'm just telling you, in my personal opinion, the trigger is heads and shoulders better.
What's crazy to me though is that my CR920 has the exact same trigger and I love shooting that gun. But then that one, I don't know.
I mean, like I said, I've never had this thing to malfunction on me, but
yeah.
I told you when we were sitting over there on the table a second ago, well, I don't even think that Trey has to load up his mag for the 43x and shoot it again because the shot that he took over here to the right was phenomenal. And just a great shot, great grouping, right dead in the center. And I don't know what the heck he was shooting at with this thing over here.
I saw limbs falling down.
It could be that the trigger's messing with him. It could be. I don't know. He said, you got that other mag for the, or you shot all three of them. We shot all three of them.
Yeah, I just gave you that mag. You want me to load you up another?
Yeah, let's load up one more and shoot the, load this one. Well, never mind. You already doing it.
I'll get you.
I just want to focus a little more on that trigger and see if maybe there is something in there. I can't.
Maybe go slower with it because I never rapid fired it. It only happened whenever I was really taking my time, like when I was accuracy testing it.
I don't know if you remember this or not. I know you said you had problems with remembering stuff, but every single time I've pulled this out and pulled the trigger on it, just sitting on the table there, I've mentioned to you how far back you feel like you have to pull the trigger. And even in the tabletop,
Well,
I talked about
Yeah.
how far back the trigger. It's almost as if you're having to push it through the wall of the frame. And, you know, it's like it touches the frame, and you have to pull through it.
Maybe
There's something wrong with my trigger. I don't know.
I think you got one that's bad, yeah. But here's how I can better explain it is that this mag's loaded. The better way I can explain it is when we talk about trigger pull, and when you do your trigger pull test. Sometimes you get inaccurate readings. Sometimes you have some that say it's 4.5 pounds, but it'll read 6 on one and 3 on another. But that's why you take the 3-weighted average.
Right. Well, mostly that's because I don't have it in a vise. I'm sitting here doing it with hand.
But what I'm saying,
if I were to put it in a vise, it would probably be different.
What I'm saying is that I feel like sometimes when you pull that trigger, you get like a 3-pound trigger pull, and other times I literally feel like I'm pulling like I'm just gripping it so tight. It's like a 13-pound revolver trigger pull.
I mean, I could see that you was letting something mess with you, but I don't know if it's the gun or not.
Well, I'm pretty solid mentally, so.
So let's see. I'm just gonna focus on pulling the trigger. Okay.
And then you let it, and you find the reset, and then
Both of those felt normal. Reset. Normal. Normal. Yeah, all of them consistently felt the same to me. You want to shoot it one more time and see it?
Yeah, because I want to figure out if it doesn't, it's kind of like, it's like
you got
this.
one loaded up already, though.
Well, I loaded up the 43 for some reason, even though I'm phenomenal with it. I feel like sometimes when you have a problem, like when a mag doesn't lock back, like we experienced that one time on the FN video, the FN Edge, your mag wouldn't lock back, but for me it locked back every single time.
Right, you remember earlier this one wasn't locking back.
Right.
Now it's locking back every time, but on you a second ago it didn't lock back.
Seems
to be some sketchy stuff going on is all I'm trying to say.
And I don't like it.
Now I don't like the trigger, but I ain't never had whatever it is you're describing.
It's almost as though, like, you know that last time whenever I was trying to pull the trigger on that round? I'm wondering if it's something to do with how I'm gripping it, because the only thing different from you shooting it and me shooting it is that I'm left and you're right.
Right, that's true.
So
That's
maybe?
true. Yeah, just focus on the trigger and see.
See if you can watch my trigger finger.
Okay.
See, like, I'm literally pulling that thing as hard as I possibly can, and nothing is happening. That is just insane. I should not have to pull that thing that hard.
I mean, it's hard for me to, to tell you what to do or what not to do, because
See, like that?
I haven't experienced that.
That felt like 4 pounds. 4 pounds, probably. Maybe 5 or 6 pounds. That felt like 9 to 10 pounds. Like I can literally feel the muscles in my arm moving.
I mean, yeah, I
don't know.
Maybe
I'm just so strong when I hold it, I grip it so tight.
Since we're doing a comparison here, just, shoot the 43 and, see if you, I think you've already voiced your complaint about the trigger.
And I'm not a lot of times you always say in videos that you're not a trigger snob, but I'm really not. Like, I love a Taurus G3 series trigger. And it's a sub $600, $500 gun with an optic on it. Like,
It's got a lot of take up. It's not the greatest, but you get used to it.
Yeah, I can tell the difference between good triggers and bad triggers, like on a Shadow Systems or a CZ Shadow.
But now between me and you and all of YouTube, I haven't noticed any difference in the weight of pull on the Shadow Systems. I don't know. I know that when we shot the G3s for the first time, the G2 that had the double strike feature,
yeah,
you was letting that mess with you hard. Like, you didn't want nothing to do with it. But the more you shot it, the more you begun to like it.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, and it helps too because we're shooting another gun in this video, so it's not just the fact that, oh, it's a Glock or it's a shadow system.
Nah, you like shadow system.
I do. I love my MR920. Freak nasty. Now, I'm not just doing this for show. Like, I genuinely am trying to review a gun, just like Gene does. But I don't know, I just feel that way. I feel like it has inconsistent trigger pull weights, and I don't know why that is. It's gotta be me, and I can admit that because Gene doesn't experience that same problem. And normally when there is a problem with the gun, we both experience it. And that's the beauty of having two people review guns like we do on the channel. So hopefully that, you know, can give some credibility to the shadow system.
Well,
because
let's
I feel
see.
bad dogging it.
I mean, since it keeps happening to you, I kind of want it to happen to me too. I mean,
Well, see, I mean, just like really slow down, like get romantic with it.
okay, Trey said to get romantic. I ain't totally sure what that means. He had a little camera mishap. He says the screen was black, but he's got sunglasses on, so you know. I'm gonna be honest. Anyway, so he told me to get romantic, whatever that means. I got the 12 round mag in here. I'm gonna get romantic. Try to pull it real slow. If anything, nobody's ever accused me of not being a straight shooter. Like, I don't care if I own the gun, if I love the gun, if I put the gun in on a pedestal in the past. If there's something that's not right, I'm gonna say as much. Now, this is what I'll say. I'm not a fan of the trigger, but I don't feel any I don't get to the back and feel like I have to put, you know, like Trey was describing, 14, 15 pounds of pressure on it to get it to, you know, now, I will say that it breaks very far back, it seems. Almost right at the frame is where it breaks. Now, maybe that's messing with him, I don't know. That's messing with me a little bit because most guns will break about that far in front of the frame and have a tiny bit of over travel, or maybe it has a screw in there where you can adjust it and it'll touch the frame. Maybe that's what's messing with him, I don't know. But I don't really see any inconsistencies at all in the trigger pulls or trigger weight. So I don't know, I'm not dismissing the issue he's having with it. Maybe it's just not for him. I mean, that's just...
Maybe it was how I was pulling the trigger too. I mean, sometimes you got to put your finger more so on the trigger, like you got to pull it with more the tip of your finger. Sometimes with I've heard that. I don't know.
All right. The more I shoot it, the more accurate I'm becoming with it. But you know, I don't know, man. Maybe. Ooh, that's hot. So now that we made it hot, let's do the trigger again. So there you go. I ain't really seen or picked up on any kind of trigger issues. I will say that, as I mentioned in the tabletop, as I did on this gun by itself, I'm not a huge fan of the trigger. It kind of puts me in mind a little bit of maybe a 365 trigger or something, which has got this weird spongy type break as Trey was describing, but I haven't felt any inconsistency. Now it seems consistently the same to me. It's got a great reset, very audible, very tactile, but we're talking 2 extra magazines, both of these guns are optic ready. This one does have a front night sight tritium field here, and does have the, I guess that would be the spiral or fluted barrel, does have the lightning cuts in the slide here. That's a lot of work, that's a lot of labor, and of course that is what you're paying for, the cutting out of the inside of that slide and all of this milling and stuff to the slide. Of course that takes time. That takes someone's time, some employee's money to do that. So of course that is what indeed you're paying for. But what we're trying to determine, and what I want to ask Trey and what I'll tell you, is do I think the 2 extra magazines, the extra milling in the slide, and the front night sight and some of the other little features on this, the bag carrying case it come in, is it worth the extra $350 that you would pay for this over the 43X? And in my personal opinion, given you can't even have a longevity argument, because of course we already know the track record of longevity with the Glock, so you can't say that this would last longer because nobody really knows that as of yet. So you can only make assumptions. So as far as accuracy, reliability, functionality, the Glock 43X is going to serve you quite well. And do I think that, giving that's the case, that you can justify the extra $350 if this is more than just a range toy but a self-defense toy? I personally don't think so. Maybe Trey, what do you think?
I don't think it's worth all that. Maybe a little bit more money, like you said, for labor and a couple other accessories it comes with, but not the $300 some odd dollars.
No, I think if I were choosing one of these 2 guns, and it was going to be my daily carry, and maybe it was the only gun I had, maybe as a female, maybe as a one-time gun guy purchased for self-defense, if I were choosing between this one and that one, and I was trying to justify the extra cost, I would go with the 43X all day. That's just my opinion. Sure, it's gonna piss some people off, but that's okay. Tell us what your thoughts are. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends, and follow us on Rumble, as we're over there on that platform now. Thanks a lot, guys.